centurion comes to Jesus and says, I need you to heal my son. And Jesus basically is like, okay, what's the deal? And the guy says, I have people under my authority. I say go and they go, and come and they come, and I'm under people's authority too, and I have to go when they say go and come when they say come. And he basically says, everything is under your authority. You don't even have to go. Just speak the word, and I know he'll be healed. I know it. Now, here's what Jesus could have said to this Roman centurion. So wait a minute. Hold on, wait a minute. You're telling me, a Jewish guy, whose parents you have taxed into oblivion, right, whose people you have oppressed, whose temple you have made fun of, whose people you have crucified out in front of the gates of Jerusalem as a symbol to show that, remember who's in control here. You're telling me, centurion, guy who probably has supervised some of those deaths, that you want me to heal your son? Yeah, okay, good luck. Right. That's what he could have done. Right. Instead he said, I have not seen such a great faith in all of Israel compared to this pagan who now believes in me. And he heals the guy's son. Conversely, though, there are times when he puts people in their place, so to speak. When religious leaders or others in authority who love their authority more are leading people astray. Right. And they say things, and he says, you guys don't know the scriptures. Right. When they try to trap him, the Sadducees try to trap Jesus by saying, there's a guy who was married, and then he dies before he has kids, and his wife, under levirate marriage, has to marry one of the brothers, and before that brother can have kids, that brother dies, and so she marries 7 brothers over time. Tell us, Jesus, if there's a resurrection, because the Sadducees didn't believe in a resurrection. Tell us, Jesus, whose wife will she be in the resurrection? In other words, this resurrection business is stupid and silly. And Jesus looks at them and says, you guys don't know the scriptures. They know the scriptures. But he's basically saying, you ignoramuses, you guys know what the scripture says, but you don't know what it means. And he points it out to them. And he says, don't you know in those days they will neither be married nor given in marriage, but like the angels in heaven. And he's saying, your question is based on a faulty premise. He challenged them in front of a bunch of people. Yeah. He went ahead and did it. But here's the balance, though. Here's the balance. Jesus spoke the truth, unabashedly spoke the truth, when challenged by people in public. But here's why he did it. Because there were people hearing what the Sadducees were saying, and the Sadducees themselves were both enslaved to a false idea. And what he didn't want is for the people to lose hope in this is all the life there is. Rome, really, oppression by Rome, and being under the thumb of religious leaders who put things on you that the law doesn't even require. And so he's saying, guys, you're wrong. And you're wrong in a way that brings less hope. Right. So why don't I offer you something and correct you on something that brings you more hope? He was doing it. He was disagreeing with the Sadducees for the benefit of the Sadducees. And that's what I think we have to do. Giving you an example in common parlance, or what's happening right now. The gender issues. We're going to talk about it. Let's talk about it. The gender issues are going on right now, of course. Yeah, exactly. So Chris can say, I went off the rails and out of control. Here's the thing, okay? When you talk about this is the balance, okay? If someone has actual, genuine gender dysphoria, which is a real phenomenon, a real psychological thing, those people deserve our compassion and our care. And they deserve to be treated with compassion and care in accordance with the truth. And so that helps that person. At the same time, the gender ideology and the gender politics is beginning to hurt certain people because there are no safe places that are for women only anymore, like bathrooms, like prisons, and like these things, where people who are not really gender dysphoric are taking advantage of gender dysphoria issues and saying, oh, I'm a woman today, and so, oh, you're a woman today, but you got convicted of rape several times before you wound up in this prison. You're in a men's prison. You don't want to be in a men's prison, and you go to a woman's prison, and you start raping women there too. Right. So we have to care for those women who are subject to this thing because of this political thing that's happening. So you have to speak up, but you're doing it for the benefit of the people with whom you disagree and the people you'll never meet. That's the balance. That's the balance. How do you say the truth in a way that isn't saying, I believe this thing and I want to be right now and I want to make sure I have a drop the mic moment and all that stuff. If that's your motivation, please just be quiet. But if your motivation is, I care and love, I care about and I love the person with whom I adamantly disagree, and I disagree with them on such an important issue that I want them to see the truth and the beauty and how the beauty of truth can help them in their lives, then by all means, please speak up. Please speak up for their sake, for the person who might be affected by bad policy or bad ideas, but also for your sake. Because the more you speak the truth in love with gentleness and with respect, the better off you'll be. Jesus, the Bible, we talk about all the time, speaking the truth in love. It's so funny because a colleague of mine said this one time. He said, Jesus claims to be the way, the truth, and the life. So he is the truth. Jesus is the truth. And in 1 John chapter 4, God is love and Jesus is God. So Jesus is truth and Jesus is love. If you speak the truth without love, you're speaking half of Jesus, which is none of him. If you speak love without truth, you're speaking half of Jesus, which is none of him. The balance is to speak the truth in love, and that's the whole thing.